version 7.1 just got a lot more interesting and potentially a lot more expensive. The latest beta update has brought some important changes to Vesna and Vodyanitsa, with several buffs that could make a big difference to how these characters perform. And there's one particular Vodyanitsa change that could make her an even more important partner for Vesna. But that's not all. We're also getting more information about the possible 7.1 banner lineup, with Skirk and Escoffier reportedly returning alongside the new characters. And, of course, we need to talk about Primogems. Based on our current calculations, F2P players could get around 11,065 Primogems plus 22 intertwined fates throughout version 7.1. That's roughly 91 wishes if you collect almost everything. Sounds like a lot, but when potentially 4 characters are competing for your Primogems, those wishes can disappear incredibly fast. So today we're going through the latest changes, what they actually mean, the possible 7.1 banners, and how I think you should plan your pulls. Just remember that we're talking about beta and unofficial information, so some details can still change before version 7.1 officially releases. Let's start with Vesna. Vesna's latest changes are actually pretty straightforward. Several of the important multipliers in her Spirit Blade sequence have been increased. Her second stage Spirit Blade is now reported at 201.6%, compared with the previous 180%. The 4-hit portion of her third stage has increased from 72% to 80.64% per hit, while the final hit has gone from 252% to 282.24%. So there's no question that Vesna is getting stronger. But personally, I don't think these numbers alone are enough to completely change someone's pull plans. They're definitely good buffs, especially because they improve an important part of her damage. But when we're talking about potentially spending dozens or even hundreds of wishes, I wouldn't pull a character simply because a few multipliers went up. What I'm much more interested in is how these changes interact with Vionitsa, because that's where things start getting much more interesting. Vionitsa received several changes in the latest beta update. Her hydro and cryo resistance reduction has reportedly increased from 26% to 30%. Her anemo resistance reduction has increased from 30% to 35%. Her solo quill stack count has also gone from 17 to 25. Her first constellation has been improved as well, with a buff changing from 0.7% of her max HP for 3 seconds to 1% of her max HP for 5 seconds. And there are additional improvements to her higher constellations, including stronger stellar swirl-related bonuses. Now, some of these changes might look relatively small on their own, but there's one change that stands out much more than the rest, and that's her interaction with Vesna's Radiance, Stellar Swirl Effect. Vodyanitsa is currently reported to be able to extend Vesna's Radiance, Stellar Swirl Effect by 4 seconds. And personally, this is probably the most interesting change in the entire update for me, because this isn't simply a damage increase. It potentially changes how much time Vesna has to operate during one of the most important parts of her kit. More time inside that state means more room to use her enhanced abilities and potentially a much more comfortable rotation. And this is where I think Vodyanitsa becomes much more interesting than she was before. If this change survives the later beta versions, Vodyanitsa could become a particularly valuable teammate for people who are already planning to pull Vesna. But I still wouldn't say that everyone needs both. Especially if you're F2P, you need to think about the opportunity cost. Every character you pull is potentially another character you're skipping. And unfortunately, 7.1 might give us a lot of characters worth considering. Vesna's signature weapon also received some changes. Its reported crit DMG bonus has increased from 48% to 56%. The Stellar Swirl damage bonus has increased from 28% to 36%. And its energy effect has increased from 3 energy to 5 energy. So obviously, these changes make the weapon more attractive for Vesna. But there's also an important restriction. When the holder leaves the field, the buffs are reportedly removed and the cycle resets. So this weapon is becoming much more specialized around its intended on-field playstyle. Personally, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Signature weapons are supposed to be extremely strong for their intended character. The bigger question is whether you should spend Primogems on it. And for most players, especially F2P players, I'd personally prioritize getting the character you want before worrying about their signature weapon. Because 7.1 could already put enough pressure on your Primogem savings. And now we get to the banner situation. Current reports are pointing toward a possible 7.1 lineup involving Vesna, Vodyanitsa, Skirk, and Escoffier. Now, this part is important. The exact banner order isn't confirmed, and the reruns are still unofficial information. So don't treat this as an official Hoyoverse announcement. But if this lineup does end up being correct, 7.1 could be a very difficult update for anyone trying to save. Because you potentially have the new Vesna and Vodyanitsa combination on one side, and then Skirk and Escoffier on the other. So the question isn't necessarily, which character is good? There could be several good options. The real question is, which one is worth my Primogems? And this brings us to the most important part for anyone who's currently saving. We've already covered the full Primogem calculation separately, so I'm not going to spend several minutes repeating every individual source. Based on our current calculation, F2P players could receive around 11,065 Primogems plus 22 intertwined fates throughout version 7.1. That's approximately 91 wishes, if you collect almost everything. With Welkin, that could be around 114 pulls, while Welkin plus Battle Pass could reach roughly 123 pulls. That's a pretty good amount of wishes. But there's one thing I really want you to remember. 91 wishes does not mean you have 91 wishes to spend. If you're saving for multiple characters, you need to decide your priorities before the banners arrive. Because if you start pulling on every banner just because you have enough Primogems at that moment, your savings can disappear very quickly. So what would I personally do? Right now, I would keep saving. I wouldn't immediately pull Vesna simply because her beta numbers increased. Her buffs are definitely positive, but I'd rather wait for the later beta versions and see where her final numbers settle. Vionitsa is actually the character I'm watching more closely now. If that 4-second extension remains in the later beta versions, I think she becomes much more attractive for anyone who already wants Vesna. But if you've been waiting for Skirk, or you've specifically been saving for Escoffier, I wouldn't suddenly abandon that plan. And if you're F2P, my advice is even simpler. Pick your priority. You don't need every good character. You don't need every signature weapon. And you definitely shouldn't empty your entire Primogem stash just because a beta update makes a character look slightly stronger. Personally, I'd rather skip one banner and guarantee a character I really want than pull impulsively and regret it later. So, what did this latest version 7.1 update actually change? Vesna got stronger. Vodyanitsa got several meaningful buffs. And their synergy is looking much more interesting than before. Vesna's signature weapon also received improvements, although it has become more specialized around its intended playstyle. And if the current banner reports are accurate, Skirk and Escoffier could make the decision even harder. On top of that, we're potentially looking at around 11,065 Primogems plus 22 intertwined fates for F2P players throughout the version, based on our current calculation. So personally, I don't think the question is simply, who is the strongest? It's, who is actually worth your Primogems? And that's something we'll have a much better idea of once the later beta versions arrive. For now, I'm saving and waiting. But what about you? Are you pulling for Vesna? Are you going for Vodyanitsa to pair with her? Or are you saving everything for Skirk or Escoffier? Let me know your pull plan in the comments. And if another major 7.1 beta change drops, we'll be covering the important stuff here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.